Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at an article from CNN Business. Now this was published on the 12th, and I know I'm getting to it a few days later here. I mean, it's the 16th. And, but I really wanted to cover this because it goes to show how messed up CNN is, and Matt Egan, who wrote this, the new threat to the economy. Americans are saving like it's the 1980s. Okay, in the 1980s, we had a booming fucking economy, so why is that a bad thing? But they're going to try to portray it as it is. Because, you know, during the 1980s, you know, the decade of materialism, the decade of yuppies, when the economy was booming, people saving somehow is a bad thing, and it's somehow going to be a bad thing now. Anyway, I got to go through this again because I didn't notice my screen capture software. When I updated it, changed the input that it recorded from, and it had switched off of my mic onto my laptop's internal sound card. Oops. Anyway, let's see if I can get through this actually a little bit quicker than the last video, and still get into everything I need to get into. So anyway, Americans are slashing their spending, hoarding cash, and shrinking their credit card debt. They fear their as they fear their jobs could disappear during the Wu flu pandemic. Yeah, you make it sound like it's a bad thing that they're being responsible. And they're not exactly hoarding cash either. Having some cash on hand is not hoarding. See, they think if you have more than $20 in your wallet and you're not using your card for everything, and you say have $100 or $200 or $300 cash just in case, you're hoarding cash. I'm assuming that's what they're talking about here, is if you have a few $100 on you, you're hoarding it. U.S. credit card debt suddenly reversed course in March and fell by the largest percentage in more than 30 years. And you're trying to say that's a bad thing? People are actually paying off their credit card debt and have done it by it's gone its largest percentage in more than 30 years on that note? Oh no. At the same time, savings rates climbed to levels unseen since Ronald Reagan was in the White House, which what's funny is one reason why they were paying such high interest rates on savings is because they needed the cash on hand in banks so that it could be lent out. And to get people to put money in the banks in the 80s, they made the interest rates pretty damn good as an incentive to get people to put their money in the bank. But people were already putting money in the bank because savings was a thing that you used to do. See, the idea of a savings account is yes, you were saving your money, but you were also giving banks the ability to have more cash on hand so that they could issue more loans. So, yeah. And they're trying to make it sound like this is a bad thing. The dramatic shift in consumer behavior reflect the unprecedented turmoil in the U.S. economy caused by the pandemic. You mean by you fear-mongering pieces of shit over at CNN and MSNBC and stuff like that, trying to convince people that the sky is falling and the world's going to end, and that 2 million people, if we did everything perfect, you know, the left and Democrat activists were pushing this shit, and you fucking fed it to the American people that if we did everything perfect, we were going to see between 1 and 2 million dead, or 1.5 and 2 million dead, and we haven't seen that. We haven't even seen, and then you revise and say, oh, well, we'll see between 100 and 200,000, or was it 100 and 300,000? We haven't even seen that at this point. And you keep changing the fucking narrative and moving the goddamn goalpost, and you keep trying to scare people, and you're wondering why the economy's in turmoil. People want to get back to their lives, and here you are pulling this shit. Come on now. Although caution is a logical response to that uncertainty, hunkering down also poses a risk to the recovery in an economy dominated by consumer spending. See, this is the thing. These are Keynesian shipwrecks. Austrian economics, Austrian school, and people who don't necessarily subscribe to the other schools look at the fact of the history of the economy, because I don't subscribe to either necessarily. I look at how the economy, being someone who studied history with a degree in it, I look at how the economy operated, what people did. All right. And this idea of Keynesian economics is a recent thing that we got to keep pumping the economy. It's about pump and dump. They think that, and they think by expanding the economy, by pumping it makes it a good economy. That doesn't make a good economy. That just makes an economy that gets spread thinner and thinner and thinner and is more apt to fucking collapse. Whereas the Austrian school, savings is a good thing. Paying for shit as you get it is a good, paying for shit as you can is a good thing. Responsible spending, whether it's government or the individual, is a good thing. Keynesians keep throwing more money at the problem. And they're worried that if the economy goes back to before the Keynesians really got a hold of things, especially like after the Reagan years, because people were still saving. Because savings was a thing that goes back hundreds of years in this country, okay, to where you would have people saving money. And the only purchase they may go into debt for would be, say, a home. All right. That would be something that you would get a mortgage for, or go into debt for, we'll say. Then it was, well, maybe I'll finance a little bit of a car. Okay, so figure people in the 60s and 70s, you're paying $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 for a car. Okay, $6,000 for a car. You're putting $5,000 down, $4,500 down, $5,000 down, and you're financing the last $1,000. That's what most people did. They might finance the last couple grand, but they weren't financing the whole car. It isn't like today where you have people that are upside down in their car loans. All right. And they're financing 60, 80-month loans on their new cars because they have to work in the upside down, and they're letting people believe that they're getting a good deal when they're literally still getting fucked, no matter how they look at it, because they're upside down in their first car that they're trading in. So that's what they want. They want people to be perpetual debt slaves. So that's what they're trying to push here. Although caution is a logical response to that uncertainty, hunkering down also poses the risk of the recovery in an economy dominated by consumer spending. I'm sorry, I just had to reread that with that emotional influence. It's like, he's basically like, well, we got to do this. He's like getting, like, I could just picture the whininess in his head when he's coming up with that sentence. A so-called V-shaped recovery can't happen if consumers are sitting on the sidelines. So what do you mean? What you're saying is that the economy won't recover if people actually live within their means? What the fuck are you talking about? If people go back to work and people are living within their means and they're spending the money that they can afford to spend and they're still contributing to the economy, it's not going to grow. It's not going to recover. Oh, no, they should be in perpetual debt and they should be going out and spending money like it's like there's no fucking tomorrow. That's what these people, that's what they're basically trying to push here. More than 33 million Americans have filed for initial unemployment claims since mid-March, and economists warn the job market won't return to pre-crisis levels for years. That's what they're hoping for because they're trying to blame this on Trump. And then when the economy recovers after these years, they're hoping that, say, a Democrat like Biden will be in office, and then they can go, look what the Democrats did for you. We saved the country. That's what the plan is. That's why they're pushing this. And the whole reason why 33 million Americans have filed for initial unemployment claims like this is because of the fact that all you people are saying, we got to shut everything down. We got to shut everything down. Okay, people will die by the millions, even if we do everything perfect. Sweden didn't follow the bullshit that we did. And we didn't even come close to doing it perfectly. They didn't shut down their economy. They didn't do shit. Except, hey, social distance, wear masks, kids are still going to school. They protected, the people at risk and the old, and infected were quarantined. Like the elderly, they were all protected from exposure. Which ironically in this country, it didn't seem to be the case when it's mostly old people in nursing homes that are dying and they had to get into the nursing home somehow. And because you pushed for shutting down the economy, that's people like you, that's why there are 33 million Americans that had to file for unemployment. Even more now. And we're trying to open shit up and you're going, and CNN's going, we got to shut you down until Bill Gates comes up with his vaccine. We're talking 18 months, 2 years. We got to shut this country down. We might have a vaccine in a year, but we're 18 months, 2 years, if not, until there's no one infected. Which they know is impossible. are literally creating this situation, and they're saying that Americans responding to the situation, saving money, being more fiscally responsible, is a bad thing. Maybe you shouldn't have created the fucking situation with your fear-mongering and panic then. Maybe you should have pushed for like what Sweden did. Just a thought. Consumers are very cautious, said Russell Price, chief economist at Ameribus Financial. We're right in the middle of the storm. People have had a reality fucking check. They understand that they can't keep kicking the can down the road. They're actually reverting back to like how earlier generations saved, lived within their means. Oh no, that's a bad thing. It used to be you would teach your kids to save. Now it's spend, 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 spend. Uncertainty and fear. The unemployment rate soared to 14.7% in April, the most severe unemployment crisis since the Great Depression. Slight problem. To make Obama look good, they literally rigged how... Well, I think this might actually go back to Baby Bush, but Obama fucking mastered it. Okay? To make Obama look good during the 2008 recession. All right? Well, between 2008 and 2009. It was a little bit with Baby Bush during the Gulf War. They did a little bit. But basically, Obama milked this. They completely rearranged how they classify people as unemployed and shit like that so that they could get rid of a large swath of the unemployed and said, oh, the 2008 recession ain't that bad. And now they want to say that this is a crisis since the Great Depression. No, it doesn't work like that. If you actually take the numbers on how they were compared to the Great Depression, because they actually used people that had been out of the employment, like looking for employment for an extended period, they still counted them. They stopped counting them with Obama, and I believe, like I said, that might have actually started under Baby Bush. But they stopped doing that so that they could fuck with the numbers. And now they want to be like, oh, since the Great Depression, because, oh no, their golden calf Obama can't be exposed for the fact that he actually caused Great Depression level unemployment. But hey, whatever. And Americans are bracing for more challenging times ahead. The perceived probability of losing one's job over the next 12 months soared to nearly 21% in April, according to a New York Federal Reserve survey released Monday. Yeah, like we should really trust the Federal Reserve, the same people who are nice enough to lend us our own money at interest. Yeah, we should really trust them. You know, the same fuckers who have rigged the economy and shit like that. Yeah, we should trust those shady fucks. Yeah, okay, we should believe them. It was the second straight month of a record high for the metric in the survey, which the New York Fed launched in 2013. Workers are also worried about how they'll land another job if they lose theirs. The perceived probability of finding a job in the next 3 months tumbled 6.1 percentage points to 47% in April, the largest monthly decline ever recorded. Well, they're not going to be able to find a job when shit's closed down. It's kind of hard. I mean, you people keep pushing. We got to lock this shit down. We got to shut this country down. And then you talk about the economic fucking impact. Like, it's not a big deal. You keep talking about the fact, like, you want to demonize these people because you have put their lives on hold with your fear-mongering and your bullshit. Okay? You want to demonize people for saving money and maybe looking at how people like from the Great Depression generation went, oh shit, maybe we should save money? You want to make it sound like the 1980s were a bad thing for this nation economically when they weren't and people were saving money? You are like so out there to actually believe this is going to fly. You people are ridiculous. The survey described considerable deteriorations in household expectations, including record lows for expected earnings, income, and spending growth. Well, yeah, when the whole fucking country's shut down because of this shit, of course that's going to be the case. That's common fucking sense. But if the economy were to reopen and you people were to back off and stop saying we need to lock shit down until Bill Gates gets his vaccine, which you think you're going to have people just lining up to fucking take, and I don't think that's going to be the case, and you're going to try to force people to take it, and that's not going to necessarily work, yeah, You think that people are going to wait for that long? Look at Wisconsin. The court rules the order's unconstitutional, and the bars are full. And you're going to say that 70% of the people back the shit that's going on at CNN? You're trying to say that 70% of people are for what's going on? Well, so what, you're going to say only the 30% filled the bars? I don't believe it. Your 70% is a fucking bullshit number you pulled out of your ass. You know, and this, of course, you've got the idea. All right, people got to cut back because of what's going on. See, they don't live in ivory towers like you shitbricks at CNN and MSNBC. So they have to, like, live within their means. They have to cut back. You want them to keep spending. The economy has to fucking be wide open, and it's got to keep being pumped for that to happen. And you're the one saying let's shut shit down for 2 years, and then you demonize these people for not spending their money and saving and living within their fucking means. You are some really sick, twisted people at CNN. I mean, you seriously are. We know that Wu Flu has not gone away, said Daniel Martino Booth, CEO and Chief Strategist at Quill Intelligence. That is going to keep us in place. That is going to keep in place an element of uncertainty and fear and hold back consumers' ability or desire to spend. Really? If that was the case, the bars wouldn't be packed in fucking Wisconsin, you dumb shit. If that was the case, okay, when New Hampshire reopened their shit, the malls along the border, because of masshole border jumpers and fucking even people who live in New Hampshire, but and along the Maine border, like shopping, when it opened up, there wouldn't have been fucking lines, okay? When the Rockingham Park Mall on a border town, okay, between Massachusetts and New Hampshire on a major, interstate, has a line for as far as the eye can fucking see, and only half the shops are opening? I think Americans want to go out and spend money. They want to go out and do shit. They want to go out and have their lives. They're going to a mall. Malls are dying, yet this mall has a line as far as the eye can fucking see. Are you kidding me? How the hell can you say it's holding back consumers when there's a line to get into the mall, a confined fucking space where, oh no, everyone's going to get Wu Flu? Come on now. You fucking idiots. There wouldn't be packed bars. There wouldn't be packed restaurants. Which restaurants are enacting, like the one in Maine, 6 foot distance. Out on their deck, stuff like that. The guy's got a line. I did a video. The main restaurant owner opened up. Said, fuck you to the governor. Doxed her on Tucker Carlson. Gave out her personal cell phone number. He had a line out the fucking door when he opened. And I'm sure he still has a line. Because people want to go out and live their lives. They're sick of the fear. They're sick of the bullshit. They're no longer buying into your crap. They're like, well, yeah, well, they said we're going to be 2 million dead if we did everything perfect. Well, we've got like what, barely 70 grand, 70,000, and they're seeing you're full of shit. Credit card debt collapses. Oh no, the credit card companies, not that. Worried Americans are drastically scaling back their credit card debt, the most expensive form of typical borrowing. Yeah. The only people that get hurt by that are the credit card companies. Oh, no. It's not like they can survive it, right? Oh, of course they can. He's worried about the credit card companies. What a shitbrick. In March, revolving credit outstanding collapsed at an annual rate of 31%, according to a Federal Reserve report released last week. It was the largest one-month decline since January 1989. So people are paying off their credit card debt in record numbers because they don't want it, strapped to their back for a long period, and that's a bad thing? Part of that drop, economists say, is the banks have pulled back on credit lines as more people become unemployed. It's also the fact that people are paying off their shit, but hey, whatever. But consumers are also becoming more frugal and reining in their borrowing in case their income is wiped out. Yeah, exactly. They're paying off their fucking debt and they're not using their credit cards all willy fucking nilly. The New York Fed survey found that perceived probability of missing a minimum debt payment over the next 3 months rose 16.2% in April, well above the 12-month trailing average of 11.9%. Well, of course, because all you idiots over at CNN said, we got to lock shit down. We got to have people locked up for 18 months, 2 years. When you're saying that, of course people, when they're seeing that this shit that you're calling for 2 years, if it were to happen, they're fucked. They know that. People have seriously reined in their spending. You have to wonder when they will be comfortable splurging, said Booth. Well, they're ordering a lot of takeout. That's kind of splurging, number one. Number two, when they're aligned at the malls and only half the shops are open, they're wanting to go out and splurge. When they're going to the bars and the bars are packed, like in Wisconsin, they want to splurge. It's just not on the things that you want them to splurge on. Savings rates spiked to Reagan-era levels. Oh no, not that. Not when the economy was fucking good. I'm trying to make it sound like the Reagan years were bad economically. Considering we had 4 years of shipwreck Carter, who made it so that a loaf of bread went from being like well under $1 to like a buck and well over a buck, like $1.80 or whatever it was, like $2 for a fucking loaf of bread, when it was like 59 fucking cents before when he went into office. Yeah, that's major in fucking inflation. This is a guy who fucking OPEC looked at and went, peanut farmer? He's a fucking pussy. Fuck him. And they walked all over him. Then he tried to be the Obama of the day and push his green bullshit. And it fucked the country. It fucked the economy. And then Reagan came in and fixed the situation. Shit was booming. That's why you have the yuppie trope. That's why yuppies fucking were all over the place. But yeah, savings rates spiked to Reagan-era levels. Credit card borrowing and spending probably declined further in April. They don't even know. They're just guessing here. For example, Visa reported that credit card payment volumes plunged 31% through April 28. Visa said the only category of U.S. payments volume is growing is food and drugstores, along with Walmart, Costco, and Target. Spending on everything else was down in April, which, yeah, people are going to Walmart, Costco, and Target, and they're buying non-food related stuff, all right? But the whole situation is, these are the only companies that just happen to be fucking making, money hand over fist because they're necessary, supposedly. That's what's fucked up. Mom and pop shops, they're not necessarily necessary, supposedly. They're offering the same products as Walmart or Costco or Target. They shouldn't be open, but Walmart, Costco, and Target should be, which is complete horseshit. They're bitching at people saving their money and the economy going down and people not spending, and you've got small businesses that offer the same things that Walmart, Costco, Target, and others do that are closed because they're supposedly not necessary. Does that make any fucking sense? Of course not. Which should tell you that when governors are saying, oh yeah, Walmart, you get a free pass. Costco, you get a free pass. Target, you get a free pass. And a small mom and pop shop, oh no, you can't open. There's something shady going on there. I'm sorry, but there is. If it looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, and it quacks like a fucking duck, it's pretty much a duck. Just accept that fact. But, so spending on everything else was down in April. Well, of course, because everything else is closed. Common fucking sense. Visa has warned that payments volume in the hardest hit categories of travel, fuel, restaurants, and entertainment plunged by more than 50% in April. Travel spending collapsed about 80% last month. Well, that's because the country's locked down and you've pushed this fear-mongering. You got people convinced that they need to have masks on their face even when they're out in the middle of nowhere with no one around them. I mean, because you have that in like fucked up places like where, like usually Democrat strongholds where people are actually believing that in the middle of fucking nowhere by themselves they need to have a mask on. Which makes absolutely no sense. And you're saying, well, they must wear a mask, but none of these people are wearing masks properly anyway. They're constantly fidgeting with them, which you're not supposed to do. You're only supposed to take them off and on with clean hands so that you don't get anything on your face. People aren't doing that. There's a lot of other things they aren't doing right with these masks. And you've got people convinced that they need to do this, and you've got them all wound up, and you've locked shit down. So even if people wanted to travel, they can't. And you wonder why these hardest hit categories are down by 80%. When people can't go out and travel, they're not going to buy gas. Okay. You got restaurants shut down, so they're not going to go spend money at them. Okay. Travel, they can't travel, shit's locked down. And entertainment, movie theaters are closed. They can't go to a club. They can't go to any other entertainment type venue because they're all fucking shut down. No shit that's going to happen. The consumer that constitutes the beating heart. Oh, constitutes. Wow, what was I saying? Wow. Anyway, the consumer that constitutes the beating heart of the real economy is preparing for a much longer slowdown than what policymakers are telling them, said Joe Brusalis, chief economist at RSM Consultancy. RSM, a consultancy. Well, they're preparing for the worst. Oh, no. That's a bad thing now, preparing for the worst? Holy shit, we can't do that. Oh, no. People are doing that, and they might continue to save once the economy gets opened back up because they're realizing they can't live off of credit cards. They got to live within their means. This might have been a wake-up call for them. For now, Americans are building cash reserves to help them get through the storm. Well, yeah. And because they've also realized that maybe they should just save money in case a rainy day happens, but whatever. The savings rate in the United States climbed from 8% in February to 13.1% in March. That was the highest savings rate since November 1981. And given the disastrous economic news, the savings rate will likely go even higher when April statistics are released. So, the interest rate goes up. It's an incentive for people to save. More people are going to do it because the interest rate is up. And you're trying to... that money's still going to go out in the economy. Because the banks are going to take that money, and then they're going to put loans out on it, and it's just going to... it's going to feed the economy. But hey, whatever. That's what happened in the Reagan 80s that you're freaking out about with the... Oh, no, we can't have 13.1% interest on savings. People need to keep putting money out there. They can't have any money in their pockets. They're supposed to be debt slaves. Jesus Christ. And you're saying it's a bad thing that the rates will go higher in April? More people are going to put more money away. That's a good thing. People should save their money. They should live within their means. We should be going more towards the Austrian school of economics and away from the Keynesian school, which is literally built off of Marxist fucking bullshit belief. How can you run the economy based off of a system that is based off of a system that's a failed ideology? You're going to run the fucking economy into the ground. That's why you got to keep pumping the fucking economy. You got to keep pumping and pumping and pumping. And the whole point of pumping the economy is to get it to explode, like to implode, to eventually just die, okay? So that you can roll in socialism. That was the whole point of the whole Marxist thing on how the economy works in capitalist society. And they're running it the way that Marx says will lead to fucking socialism and communism. How the hell do you not understand that that's probably not a good idea? When you have a depression-like shock, households will increase savings, said Brusalis, who called the March spike in savings rate insane. It's not insane. That's what people should be getting. See, they've been artificially keeping the interest rates low on savings so that people would keep their money out in the economy. Now that the interest rates are where they should be, you're trying to say that's insane? Fuck you, dude. I never understood why, under Reagan, when the economy's booming, we had high interest rates on savings. Because as a kid, you're like, shit, I put my money in a savings account. I put $100 in. I get 10%. I get $10 for that 100. Or 13, with 13%. Oh, I get that. And you go, ooh, that's money. You go from that to, why is it even worth putting money in my savings account except to just hold it there? I mean, I literally kept, up until recently, I kept all my money in my checking account, on the note of what I had saved up. Oh, the interest rate's gone up. Fuck that. I moved my shit over to savings. Because there's a reason to. That's the point of a savings account, is to give you an incentive to save your fucking money so that the bank can have that money on hand so that they can increase their loan output. At least that's how it would be normally. But hey, whatever. Main Street is hurting. The shifting consumer behavior are another reminder of the pain on Main Street that often gets lost given the near euphoria on Wall Street. The U.S. stock market has raced back to life since late March as investors have celebrated the response from the federal government and signs of hope on the health front. Yeah, and mom and pop shops have been closed down because you idiots have been pushing the fucking fear-mongering bullshit of a guy who literally put, like, the guy from England behind the shit that led to our supposed 2 million and all that. The guy that said, we're all going to die. The sky is falling and all that shit. The guy who didn't even follow his own recommendations and got caught, with his married, multi-kid having mistress, violating the fucking, the fucking lockdown and shit. You have locked down everything, and you wonder why the small businesses are hurting. Although investors are optimistic about the future of large companies that make up the S&P 500, it is clear that small and medium-sized businesses are hurting badly. Yeah, and it's all you fuckers' faults for saying we got to lock shit down. We got to be completely authoritarian. We got to be like fucking China. We got to lock everything down. We got to shut businesses down. We got to do this. We got to do that. When Sweden said, hey, let's be more reasonable. Let's not shut down people's lives. Let's not fucking fuck over their livelihoods. Let's not screw over small businesses. What we're going to do is we're going to practice social distancing, and we're going to do things to where we're not going to shut shit down. We're going to say that you should be wearing masks. We're going to do these things, and we're going to just let shit happen. And they did. And their numbers weren't drastically worse than any other place in Europe. They were better in places than like Italy and a bunch of other places. Way better. And you wonder why small business is fucked right now. It's because of you assholes pushing the shit that you are at CNN. About 83% of middle market businesses reported a general decline in economic prospects in April, according to a survey released Monday by RSM, and more than half expect a decline in conditions over the next 6 months. About 40% of executives reported a drop in April hiring, and nearly a third noted a decline in compensation being offered. Okay, so what? You're basically trying to push this idea that middle market businesses, not the mom and pop shops, you're trying to portray these middle market as Main Street, which that's not really a mom and pop shop, but reported a general decline of economic prospects in April. Okay, that's expected. And of course they're going to expect a decline over the next few months because you got shit locked down and you're calling for up to 2 years for this shit to be going on for. You want the country locked down for 2 fucking years. Or at least until a Democrat gets in office and then things will miraculously fucking change, I'm sure. And of course there's a drop in April hiring. These places are not open. How the fuck are they going to hire people? Duh! Holy shit. RSM Middle Market Business Index collapsed to record lows in April on oblique findings. Well, yeah, because shit's been shut down. RSM said the survey strongly implies the federal government stimulus effort will not be sufficient to revive the beating heart and soul of the real economy in the near term. Well, when you have large fucking companies taking the small business loans, of course that's going to fuck the mom and pop shops. But you don't see you guys really calling that shit out now, do we? Of course not. Now let's just get through this. Reopening the economy. Although the shifts in consumer behavior are rational, they point to longer-term challenges for an economy that is dominated by consumer spending, which makes up more than 2/3 of the U.S. GDP. Oh, I wonder why. Could it be the fact that, I don't know, you had Bill Clinton sell this country's soul to the fucking Chinese Communist Party and sell out our manufacturing to them and make it so that American companies could go over there and that's Chinese companies could steal their intellectual fucking property, which one thing they talk about is that actually doesn't get talked about. Part of the deal Clinton made is when you bring your shit over to China as a United States company, you have to hand over your fucking intellectual property to the CCP. It's not the fact that they steal it. It's the fact that you have to openly fucking hand it over. If you want to have a business there, you have to be in bed with the Chinese anyways, so they're going to get it any which way. So that's why Clinton pushed us towards being a service providing industry, a service nation, whether it be retail, restaurant, service over a phone or internet or whatever. We've become 2/3 of our economy has become based off of services. And that's what's fucked us. Because, hell, when you've got American companies, pharmaceutical companies manufacturing the drugs that we need in China in facilities that they supposedly control and own, and the CCP's going, oh, no, you're not getting anything. Unless you suck our little pathetic little dicks, you ain't getting shit. Unless you say that it's all your fault and America did it, you ain't getting shit. We will cut off your drugs that you paid for. That's like, fuck you. Clinton created that situation where 2/3 of our economy is what it is today. He opened the door for it. But you leave that little tidbit out. And Trump is right. His point's been proven. We need manufacturing and everything else to be coming back to the United States so that we can be an independent fucking nation and not have some cock-sucking communist pieces of shit try to dictate to us. But you wouldn't know. Oh, wait, no, you would know about that because CNN is the DNC frontrunner and the CCP have been fucking funding the Democrats and the DNC for fucking decades. So you would know what that's about. Sucking Chinese dick, wouldn't you? You're propagandist for them, for fuck's sake. Economists warn that even after stay-at-home orders are lifted, many Americans won't spend as aggressively as before until there's a vaccine. It's not as simple as reopening the economy. That is just such bullshit right there. Their spending is going to have nothing to do with a fucking vaccine. Nothing to do with a vaccine at all. They're looking at the economy, they're looking at what's going on, and they're becoming a little more reasonable in their spending. And they're looking at the fact that maybe they should save up some money. They're looking at the fact that they should not exceed their means. A vaccine isn't going to change that. With the economy reopening, they're still going to be reasonable. And they're going to look at the fact of, maybe I should have a few $1,000s in the bank in case something like this happens again. They're going to be what's the word I'm looking for? Responsible, for lack of a better one. Many consumers, especially senior citizens and those with pre-existing conditions, will probably shy away from crowds for the foreseeable future. And that means the economy can't get flipped back on like a light switch. Excuse me? Have you ever seen the, elderly shopping times at like supermarkets and shit? You got old people lined up. In conditions where they could more easily get the coof. What the fuck are you talking about? Even old people want to go out. Even if you're a multimillionaire, you're going to be much more reluctant to go to restaurants, baseball games, and travel on airplanes. Ameriprise's Prince said, not really. When you have the restaurant in Maine with a standing with a line waiting to go in when it opened, and even now from what I understand, when you have shopping in New Hampshire, along the border towns, with lines as far as the eye can see to get in. Not going to happen. You're going to see people going out. It's not going to be how you're claiming. Okay, when you have people piling into bars, it's not going to be how you're trying to portray it. It just isn't. But hey, whatever. Anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.